Hi everyone, John here for JPTV with the midweek news roundup for week number 42. So let's jump straight into it. Just to let you know guys, before I do that, I know I keep doing this all the time, I will be using cards during this video. I'm going to try and implement it, so see how it goes, see how we get on. I'm going to do a couple of little polls in there and see what you think about today's story. So anyway, let's get straight on to the first story. Now, as you know, I've covered the Grenfell Tower fire quite extensively over the last 12, pretty much almost the last 10, 11 months. I've been doing this for a while now. But let's jump straight into the story itself. A list of failed safety regulations has been presented to a public inquiry into the Grenfell Tower blaze. Dr. Barbara Lane said lifts in the tower were substandard, fire doors had not been replaced, and combustible material was fitted around the windows. She said the very basis of the policy telling people to stay in their flats during a fire only worked alongside other protection measures. But the standards firefighters relied on failed at 26 minutes past 1 on the original day, which is the 11th of June, if I remember correctly. Firefighters did not get into the kitchen where the Grenfell Tower fire started until 5 minutes after flames had spread through the external window, the official inquiry has heard. Crews had first entered the flat at 7 minutes past 1 British Standard Time on the 14th of June 2017, so apologies, got the date wrong there. 13 minutes after occupant Behalu Kibedi, I hope I pronounced that correctly, rang 999. But it was a further 7 minutes before they tackled the kitchen blaze. The kitchen's fire alarm had gone off after Mr. Kibedi's fridge caught fire. He and 2 other occupants escaped. Now, this is a horrible thing, as you know. I don't want to go into too much detail about it because I've done it in previous videos. But as I said, you know, this is a horrible situation that we found ourselves in as a nation, and obviously for these people that were living in West London that were affected by this blaze a year ago. Now, it's no surprising as that there's loads of been cutbacks in the councils over the last few years, and more specifically, probably within the last 5 or 6 years, however long ago it was that these updates to the building blocks had happened. And as a result, I feel bad for these people. I really do. You know, as I said in my previous videos, I came back. Me and my ex, we came back on the morning of this happening. So when I woke up, we came back from Cyprus. When I woke up, I switched on the video and wondered what the hell was going on. It was a bit of an ominous feel around on that day, but you know, as I say, it was just it was horrible to see. It's been horrible to experience over the last 12 months, and this is without me being involved in it in any shape or form, just purely as a bystander watching the reports come in. And as I say, my heart goes out to everybody that's been affected over the last 12 months. It really does. This is why I've covered it as much as I possibly can, because at the end of the day, this story needs to have proper exposure rather than the mediocre crap we get to see on the news. So let me know in your thoughts, guys. There will be a card coming up here to say for you to give your thoughts down in the comments. Now, the next story I want to talk about is following on from the weekend's roundup about Billy Caldwell. The use of medical cannabis is to be reviewed, which could lead to more prescriptions of drugs made from the plant, the Home Secretary has said. The decision was prompted by high-profile cases of children with severe epilepsy being denied access to cannabis oil. I'm never going to get this right. Has been denied access to cannabis oil to control their seizures. But Sajid Javid stressed the drug would remain banned for recreational use. No surprises there. Charlotte Caldwell, whose son Billy has severe epilepsy and is still continually suffering with it, welcomed the decision after campaigning for the change. Now, this again is a very interesting story. You know, that times are changing. The reason, as I said in my previous videos, the reason why cannabis oil isn't widely available for prescription use is because it hasn't been drugged. The drug hasn't been taxed yet, and as a result of this, this is why we get into these people that, you've got kids with epilepsy, severe cases of epilepsy, basically on death's door, for lack of a better way of putting it, on death's door because of politics and because of greed and because of ignorance. I've said it before and I've said it again. Yes, it has to be controlled under different measures. You have to follow the prescription of the advice given to the letter. Otherwise, it can have catastrophic mental and physical side effects. Mental more than anything else, but it can be awful if it's used correctly. It's fantastic. If it's used incorrectly, it can be absolutely draining on your mental and physical well-being as a result of it. But as I say, I'm glad there's progress being made on it. This cannabis oil is not the cure for everything. It never will be. I'm not suggesting that it is. For me personally, when I use the CBD oil, I get really good night's sleep. That's it. I'm not walking around the office stoned out of my brain. Not speaking to my housemates cross-eyed. It doesn't affect me at all in any other way, other than the fact that it sorted out my stomach problems and it sorted out my sleeping problems. I'm a very, very, very light sleeper. So normally any slight little sound and I'm up and I'm awake. So, but as I say, it's a good thing that this has happened, and I welcome it, and I will keep you guys posted on this story as it develops. Now, I did do a video a few months ago on my original channel that was talking about Charlie Gard. Obviously, as everybody will remember, this is a poor little boy who his parents couldn't get permission to sort out his medical condition and therefore get him to go over to the States to have the life-saving surgery that he needed, and as a result the little boy died. There's been more news that's come out about this story. It's basically when Charlie died, his parents said their son would make a difference to people's lives for years to come. It's absolutely true, 100%. Chris Gard and Connie Yates have spent the months since his death developing Charlie's Law. They've worked with doctors, ethicists, I think you pronounce that, ethicists, and politicians to try to find a way to avoid other families being taken to court. This comes as leading paediatricians say they are concerned about the effect of such high-profile cases on medics. Now, as I said in the previous videos about this, it was a horrible thing. Doctors and solicitors, for that matter, and lawyers, if you want to use the American vernacular that everyone seems to be using now, should not have the final say on some child's life, anybody's life, much less a child's life. This is why this Charlie's Law is coming into effect, that more guidance can be given, more exposure has been given to the cases to make sure that people are actually following new sets of rules that will actually allow these parents to make their informed decisions, and that the doctors will have more responsibility for what they're doing rather than what they're not doing, as Charlie's case unfortunately did prove. So, as I say, it's a heartbreaking story that this kid died in the circumstances and in the way that he did. His parents have been lobbying, as I said just a few moments ago, to change the law, and they're doing that. So I absolutely applaud you guys for doing what you're doing. Keep up the good work, guys. And everybody deserves a second chance at life, no matter what their financial, physical, mental situations are. They deserve to be breathing, eating, living, laughing, just like the rest of us. Now, I'm going to report on a new story, because the previous ones have all been follow-ups of previous reports I've been doing. There's a new story that's broken, which is linked to the NHS in quite a few ways, actually, because obviously it's about the NHS, but it's linked to the other few stories in quite a few ways, which is the reason why I've decided to talk about it. More than 450 patients have died after being given powerful painkillers inappropriately at Gosport War Memorial Hospital, a recent report has found. An independent panel said, taking into account missing records, this is the NHS after all, a further 200 patients may have suffered a similar fate. The report found that there was a disregard for human life of a large number of patients from 1989 to 2000. So we're basically looking at 11 to 12 years, give or take, depending on when in 1989 it started and when in 2000 it finished, but 11 and a half years where people have just been disregarded as human beings throughout the NHS. I've mentioned it numerous times on videos before. It said that Dr. Jane Barton, who was in charge of the practice, oversaw the prescribing of the wards. There was an institutional regime of prescribing and administering dangerous amounts of a medication not clinically justified at the Hampshire Hospital. Now, as I say, the whole thing about the NHS is fucked from core to outer casing. There's too much emphasis, for my personal opinion, there's too much emphasis on getting people out as quickly as possible, not just at hospitals, but in GP practices, walk-in clinics. I mean, walk-in clinics are slightly different, but there's too much emphasis on cost cutting. Again, there's too much emphasis on getting people out of beds as quickly as possible, moving someone from ward to ward to somebody else's problem, and this is the direct result of it. 11 years worth of people dying. So we could be looking at up to, as the report says, up to 670 people could have died and possibly have died because they weren't being treated with enough respect. This is a war memorial hospital. Now, when my dad was being treated for cancer, he went to a war memorial hospital as well. So I know how well they are run, but this is an stabbing indictment of how bad everything is in the NHS and how people have become complacent and how they've just allowed their ego and their bank balance to overshadow people's lives. I can go on for hours about this, but I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible because I'm trying to do videos per subject now. But as I said, it's appalling that this situation has been allowed to have occurred, and there should be massive changes in structure and ruling for the NHS. Now, in previous videos, guys, I've mentioned about how ineffective and stupid any company that has British in the title, and this is a prime example of what I've been talking about. More than 2,000 British Airways passengers have had their tickets cancelled because the prices were too cheap, a travel agent has said. Travel Up chief Ali Sahar, or Sar, depending on your pronunciation, said he believes another 5 agencies also sold tickets through the airline's mistake. BA, British Airways, BA, has apologised for the error on flights to Tel Aviv and Dubai, but refused to say how many were affected. Customers said that they were angry their tickets had not been honoured. Agree 100%. Once you publicise a price, you should stick to it no matter what. Mr. Shah said flights normally costing more than £200 were advertised for £1, plus airport taxes, which can be several hundreds of pounds, between quarter to 6 on the 11th of June this year, evening time, and 11 a.m. the following day. The agent, who said more than 2,000 of his customers have been affected, said it is very cruel for the customers because they have booked these flights in good faith and expect it to be honoured. But I can also understand British Airways' position. It's human error. Mr. Shah also said all affected customers are being contacted, and British Airways will provide a full refund as well as a £100 voucher. Now, I'm sorry, but bollocks. Absolute horseshit for this. At the end of the day, if you're being charged a value of money, without taxes for £1, and the travelling and the cost of, and then you increase everything else as a result of it because it's an admin error. Bollocks. No, we should not be doing that. I mean, that's my position. I've experienced it numerous times at work, but nobody seems to listen. So I'm hoping you guys are listening. Is anybody of the linked to any of the travel agencies? Put your comments in below, what you think about this. The card's going to be going up about this as well. There's a little poll going on in the card. I forgot if I'm able to do it right. And, you know, so it baffles me. It really, really baffles me. At the end of the day, the British way of doing things, if you say you're going to do something, you fucking do it. Apologies for swearing, but this really, really irritates me. And no bigger company than British Airways should back down on their promise to their customers. By giving them a full refund and a £100 voucher, not enough. Absolutely not enough. Honour your ticket. Honour what they've paid. Honour yourselves. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you're new around here and you like what I'm doing, please click the subscribe button. The scrubs button should be about now. If you like the video, please give it a like. Put your comments down below on what you feel about the subjects discussed tonight. I mean, do you agree that British Airways are being a bastards, basically? Do you agree that what's going on with the NHS as a whole? You know, what would you like to see changes in the NHS? I'd like to see your feedback, guys. This is my question to you. Give me your feedback. This is your channels as much as it is mine. I do it for your purposes, not just fill up my spare time. But as I say, thank you very much for watching. If you know people that would like to see this video, then please click the share button as well. And I will see you guys on the weekend for the weekend roundup of news. You take care now, all the best, and enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you at the weekend.